Lord Shiva informed Goddess Durga, the superintendent of the material world, "In the age of Kali, I take the form of a Brahmana and explain the Vedas through false scriptures in an atheistic way, similar to Buddhist philosophy." Purport. The word Brahmana Murtina in this verse refers to the founder of Mayavad philosophy, Shankaracharya, who was born in the Malabar district of southern India. Mayavad philosophy states that the Supreme Lord, the living entities and the cosmic manifestations are all transformations of illusory energy. To support this atheistic theory, the Mayavadis cite false scriptures which make people bereft of transcendental knowledge and addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. This verse is a quotation from the Padma Purana, Uttarakhand 25.7. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manokishtam Shapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deham Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vichakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpa Drubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. See this again. Mayavadam asat shastram prachanam bodham uchate mayaiva vihitam devi halal brahmana murtina. Lord Shiva informed Goddess Durga, the superintendent of the material world, "In the age of Kali, I take the form of a Brahmana and explain the Vedas through false scriptures in an atheistic way, similar to Buddhist philosophy." So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been speaking, saying that the Supreme, in the previous verses, just to recap, since it was a week ago, since this was read, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the central point of all relationships. Acting in devotional service to Him is one's real occupation, and the attainment of love of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. These three subject matters are described in the Vedic literature. If one tries to explain the Vedic literature in a different way, he is indulging in imagination. Any interpretation of the self-evident Vedic version is simply imaginary. He says, actually, there's no fault on the part of Shankaracharya. He simply carried out the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had to imagine some kind of interpretation, and therefore he presented a kind of Vedic literature that is full of atheism. Addressing Lord Shiva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, "Please make the general populace averse to me by imagining your own interpretation of the Vedas. Also cover me in such a way that people will take more interest in advancing material civilization, just to propagate a population bereft of spiritual knowledge." So that last verse was also a quotation from the Padma Purana, Uttarakhand. So Shankaracharya was quite successful, I think. he achieved the goal that's mentioned here anyway, which is that people will take more interest in advancing material civilization and propagating a population bereft of spiritual knowledge. But Srila Prabhupada explains that his purpose also was that Buddhism had taken people away from the Vedas because people were abusing the Vedas. So Lord Buddha, he said, forget about the Vedas, just follow me. So also this was Krishna's trick, because he's actually Lord Buddha himself, and so he was successful. Buddha was successful in doing that, so that people would cease to abuse the Vedas, and so everybody was taken away from that, and therefore the Vedas became neglected. But then it was necessary to bring people back to the Vedas. So Shankaracharya, he actually took one step towards re-establishing the Vedas, so that people could start to accept actually Krishna's instructions as given in the Vedas. But he couldn't go too far from Buddhism, as I understand, because the people wouldn't accept any too much of a departure from Buddhism. So therefore he said that actually, because Buddhism is voidism or nihilism, everything is nothing ultimately, everything is illusory, so he said actually no, that it's not that everything is nothing, there is something, but it's all one, like that. So this was something that could be accepted by many people, and Buddhism was driven out mostly from India. I think there's some last vestiges somewhere maybe, but basically it was driven out to the far east of India, where Buddhism is still quite prominent. So he was successful in that. And then other acharyas appeared, like Ramanuja Acharya, and he established also that he took it a step further, saying that actually it's not all one, but there's actually two. And then Madhvacharya, he's the one who put his two fingers up and says, no, actually everything is completely two. Separate, completely separate, practically. So Madhvacharya is also in our Sampradaya. He's one of the most important figures. So there's this argument between actually everything is all one, and no, it's actually two. Duality.